Hello and happy Monday, guys. I hope you all had a great weekend. So, taking a look over in this yellow rectangle, you will find today's daily assignments. This is also a separate slide in your presentation. So, please make sure you are always looking at this yellow box to figure out what are you required to do today. So, for today's presentation, you're going to need your notebooks. You're also going to complete a Google form at the end, and then you're going to finish up with 15 minutes of iReady. Now, I want to remind you guys that last week on Thursday and Friday, I assigned 2 iReady lessons. Those were expected to be completed on the day that they were assigned. Several of you still owe me those lessons, so please log on to iReady and complete them today. So again, just a reminder that if you ever receive a teacher-assigned iReady lesson, that is your daily requirement for that day, and you're expected to complete that. So again, go ahead and log on to iReady and finish those 2 lessons if you owe them to me. All right. So this week's Spirit Week is red, white, and blue. So this coming Friday, please wear red, white, and blue, and then use the link here to upload your picture. 1 week from today, we will be off for Memorial Day, so that's why we are dressing in red, white, and blue this Friday. Our math standard is the same this week. We're getting back into evaluating expressions using order of operations. So one more time, if you haven't gotten your notebooks and a pencil, you're going to want to push pause, go find them, and come back. Those of you who do have your notebooks, go ahead and open up to a new page because I want you to copy down the problems, do them with me, and do them on your own when you are told to do so. So last week, we were introduced to the steps of order of operations. And what is important about this is that you must follow these steps every time, no matter where you are, because if not, we would all be getting different answers. So again, taking a look up here, it says, first do the operations inside grouping symbols. So we have been working with parentheses last week and this week. Just a reminder that there's also brackets and braces, and you will get to see those later on. After you've completed solving all operations inside grouping symbols, you then move to multiplying and dividing. Now, if both of these operations are in the same problem, you do them from left to right. Once you have solved all the multiplying and dividing, then you go to adding and subtracting. Again, if adding and subtracting are in the same problem, you solve them from left to right. So I want you to take a look at these 2 problems here. The first one says 10 plus 5 times the difference of 9 minus 4. Go ahead and copy that down. And while you guys are copying that down, I just want to remind you that the reason why I say 10 plus 5 times the difference of 9 minus 4 is because I need to take the answer to 9 minus 4 and multiply it by 5. The difference means the answer to a subtraction problem. All right, so taking a look at this problem, go ahead and underline the step that you think we have to do first. All right, following our order of operations, you should have underlined 9 minus 4 because that is our first step and it's inside grouping symbols. So the first thing we're going to do is 9 minus 4. That is 5. You're going to copy down the 5 underneath, and then you're going to bring down all numbers and symbols that we have not used. So you're going to be rewriting the problem as 10 plus 5 times 5 because that's what we got when we solved the grouping symbols. Now you can see that the next part is we're going to do 5 times 5. We're doing that before adding because we have to follow order of operations. So again, multiplying and dividing is step 2, and that's why we do this first. So you get 5 times 5 is 25, and then you bring down the 10, and finally go ahead and finish evaluating this expression. So you can see that we started with a long expression, and then we finally, when we're done, you just have the answer. All right, so take a look at the next one. 8 times 2 plus 5 minus 6. All right, if you haven't copied that down, please do so now. Taking a look at the steps, there are no grouping symbols. So that means we're going to hop right to step number 2. And I noticed that there is multiplying in this problem, so that's what we have to do first. All right, so here you can see 8 times 2 is the first step. The product of 8 and 2 is 16, so I'm going to bring the 16 underneath. And then I bring down the plus 5 minus 6 because I haven't used those pieces of our expression yet. Now, notice that in this next step, 16 plus 5 minus 6, I have adding and subtraction in this problem. When both of those operations are in the problem, you do them from left to right. So that is why we are going to add first 16 plus 5, rewrite that underneath as 21 minus 6, and then go ahead and finish the problem. So you should have gotten 15. All right. So what I would like for you to do now is to copy both these problems down in your notebook. Then you're going to push pause, evaluate these expressions using the order of operations steps at the top. And then when you are done both of them, come back and push play and we'll go over them. All right, so taking a look at this first one where I have 10 times 2 minus 3 plus 7, I notice that I don't have any grouping symbols, which means I'm going to start off on step number 2, multiplying and dividing. And I can see that I have multiplication right here. So when you were solving this in your notebook, the very first step you should have done is 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. So you rewrite that underneath, and then you're going to bring down everything else that's still in black. Minus 3 plus 7. Now, here's where you could have made a mistake. So I want you to really look at your work and compare it to mine. Notice that I have subtraction and addition in the problem. When adding and subtracting are in the same problem, you do them from left to right. So because subtraction came first in the problem, I have to do that first. So now I go ahead and I do 20 minus 3, I get 17, and then I follow that up with plus 7, and I get 24. All right, taking a look at the next one over here, I notice that I do have grouping symbols, and there's something special going on with my grouping symbols. I actually have 2 operations inside them, which means that inside my grouping symbols, I have to follow order of operations again. So the first step I have to do is my grouping symbols, but I have to follow order of operations inside here. So the first thing that I really have to do is 9 minus 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Now notice that my parentheses are written in black because I'm not done with them yet. So I'm going to bring down 4 times my parentheses, 1 plus 3, close parentheses, okay? So anything that I haven't used yet gets brought down. So now you can see that the 1 came from 9 minus 8, and I did subtracting first because I do adding and subtracting from left to right. Now I'm going to finish up with getting rid of my grouping symbol. So I'm going to do 1 plus 3. All right, and you can see I got 4, and then I have 4 times 4, so you should have gotten 16. All right. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and push pause again. Try these 2 new problems. Again, make sure that if you have adding and subtracting in the same problem, you do them from left to right. If you have multiplying and dividing in the same problem, you do them left to right. So again, copy your problems down, push pause in the video, give them a try, and push play when you're ready to go over them. All right, guys, welcome back. So let's take a look at this first one. I don't have any grouping symbols, so I'm going to get right into step 2. I see a minus, a plus, and a multiply. There's my step 2, so I'm going to do that first. So you should have underlined 6 times 5, and that should have been the first thing, and you should get 30. Now I have to bring down the 9 minus 8 plus 30, and that should be next on your steps here. Now, notice that in my next step, 9 minus 8 plus 30, I'm going to do the subtraction first because I solved the step from left to right. First subtract, then add. 9 minus 8 is a 1 plus 30 gives me 31. All right, coming to the next problem, 5 times 2 plus 9 divided by 3. Again, no grouping symbol, so I'm going right into step 2. Step 2 says multiply and divide from left to right. Well, I notice in this problem I actually have multiplying and dividing. Again, because they're in the same problem, I'm going to do them left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you should have done, was 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10, so I'm going to bring that underneath, plus 9 divided by 3. Then I'm going to come over here and do that next part. So you can see 10 plus 9 divided by 3. I'm going to do that division part because I got to get rid of all of step 2 operations first. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then you can see I bring down the 10, and that's my last step for 13. Now, if you're feeling lost after attempting these 4 problems by yourself, you need to pause the video and reach out to me. So that way I can provide you some feedback before you attempt the rest of your lesson and your exit ticket for today. So here's another type of problem that I really like. Your job is to figure out where should I put these parentheses to make this true. So, for example, I know that I have 30 minus 4 times 2 plus 5, and I want it to equal 2. So should I put my parentheses here? So that way, again, when I put in my grouping symbols, that changes what I do first in the problem. So if I put it there, I have to do 30 minus 4 first. Or should I put it here and do multiplying first? Or should it be all the way at the end? So problems like this require you to guess and check, meaning you're going to copy this problem down, move the parentheses around, solve it, and guess and check until you get the right answer. So now copy the problem down, push pause, and come back when you're ready to go over it. All right, so let's take a look. So in this first one, you can see that if I put it in the front here, my very first step is then 30 minus 4 because that's the first step of order of operations is to get rid of the grouping symbols. 30 minus 4 is 26. I bring down the times 2 plus 5. Now I have multiplying and adding. My next step would be this right here because multiplying comes before adding, and I get 52. Bring down the plus 5, and you can see for this, if I were to put my parentheses right there, I got 57. So I did not make my expression true. So let's see what happens if we move them somewhere else. Here you can see that I put them right in the middle. So the first step that I'm going to do is get rid of my grouping symbols. I have to solve 4 times 2, and you can see that right here. 4 times 2 is 8. Now I have 30 minus the 8 from here plus 5. When I have subtraction and addition in the same problem, I just do them left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is 30 minus 8, which is 22. 22 plus 5 gives me 27. So again, they don't go there. So finally, here you can see that I put them at the very end. So that means the very first step that I'm going to do is 2 plus 5. And you can see that 2 plus 5 is 7, which is right here. And I brought down the 30 minus 4 times 7. Now that I have minus and multiplication in the same problem, I'm going to do this part first because of order of operations. 4 times 7 is 28. So then you can see 30 minus 28 is 2. So that is where the parentheses go. All right, guys, so once again, please shoot me an email if you have any questions. If you didn't feel like you were very successful with today's lessons and you want me to go over them with you, please reach out. You need to now click the Google form link and complete your exit ticket, as well as if you have iReady lessons that you owe me from last week, please complete them. All right, guys, have a great Monday.